Hello! If you've ever played computer games, you know to some degree, the person who extends first is the most vulnerable. Whether it's shooting a skill first and being open during its cooldown, or extending into enemy base, you know the person usually running and waiting for you to attack first has the advantage. There are two fighters I'll be covering who utilize this premise at a very high level, and because of it, despite the simplicity of their styles, they've left a trail of opponents behind them, but at a cost. No one enjoys watching them. Their styles, despite how powerful, simply do not appeal to the masses. Let's start with Guillermo Rigondeaux. Freddie Roach has said Guillermo is the greatest talent he's ever seen, yet for the most part, Guillermo has gone unrecognized throughout his career. Aside from a few veterans of the sport, no one really knew who Guillermo was until a few boxing channels put together his highlights. And if you consider his 374-12 amateur record and 18 fight undefeated streak, that's enough material to make anyone look amazing for 3 to 4 minutes. But the fact still remains. Unless you're a veteran of boxing with a keen eye for what's actually happening, opposed to the average consumer who's just looking to watch people get hurt, you'll probably get bored watching Rigondeaux because he spends a lot of his time at the end of his range, probing with his lead, just waiting for you to come in so he can counter you. Now this is a very high skill style nonetheless, and he does time to time initiate as well, with a 1-2 when he feels it's safe. But for the most part, the match starts to feel like a staring contest, and Rigondeaux is waiting for you to make a move so he can mess you up. And of course his opponents will feel this, get stifled in their advance, and join Rigondeaux in the staring competition. Once you understand the game a bit better though, you do feel the tension between him and his opponents, and you do come to respect Rigondeaux's genius tier prowess in the arena. Again, no one knew who this guy was for most of his career. Most people still don't know who he is, and the people who do now only do because a few YouTube channels took his long career, took all the cool parts and made a 4-minute video. Only true veterans of the sport can recall Rigondeaux before his highlights, really. The reverse would probably be Vasily Lomachenko, where Rigondeaux, despite standing as a southpaw, is as simple and as orthodox as you can get to boxing philosophy. Vasily Lomachenko, on the other hand, is as complicated and unorthodox as you can get. Guess who's been blowing up all over the internet? But nonetheless, to put things into perspective of how good Rigondeaux actually is, even Vasily Lomachenko ducked him. The next waiter we all know very well, and he's booed on a consistent basis for it. People were actually holding up their phones during his Demian Maia fight, probably indicating they were on their phones opposed to watching the fight itself. They were that bored. And I literally couldn't stop laughing when I came to that realization. I remember watching this fight with my friends and they were talking so much trash about Tyron because they wanted to see more action, but honestly, I don't mind his style. Especially during his last fight. Watching Demian Maia fight a man who only needs one takedown to finish the fight, literally, only one. Then getting his only tool taken away from him, stuffed over and over again. For me, there was a beauty to that. Think of it this way. The man, Demian Maia, has spent most of his life trying to get you to the ground and strangle you. And despite all of those years of training just that, he could not get Tyron down even once. Sure, Tyron used the cage a few times, but the fact remains Tyron nullified decades of hard work with his patience and wrestler base. You can hate all you want, but at the end of the day, you can't take that away from him, and I know many veterans of the sport feel this way as well. I personally think Tyron could add a little more to his style. I remember Joe Rogan questioning why Tyron doesn't use leg kicks. I mean, the guy is pretty much impervious to them with his tree trunk legs, and so naturally, I assume he'd be able to hack away his opponents, whilst receiving minimal damage. Just a thought, I think it might make him a little more appealing to the masses, but nonetheless, Tyron is a waiter. He waits for you to make a move, then feints with level changes, baiting his wrestling pressure, then smashes you with an overhand instead. And yeah, it's good game from then on, or at least that's the plan. His style is very simple, just an overhand, wrestling pressure, and he just waits. Waits until you get impatient and give him the opening. Waits for you to take the risk. I can see why people would hate this style of fighting. It looks like both fighters are scared, to be honest, and they are. leaving both in an anxious standstill for much of the fight. But I have a feeling, if Tyron retains his belt long enough, maybe, just maybe after a few years, a YouTube channel will come along, go through hours and hours of footage, and make a 4-minute video where Tyron actually looks kinda cool. I think that's more than likely. You know the guy can KO people dead, so a few of those, add a bit of slow motion training footage in between to indicate hard work, and there you have it. The waiter style finally being recognized as cool and exciting by the masses. If you don't, you're racist. Just kidding, Tyron. It's a joke. Don't fight me. You're scary, man. Floyd Mayweather is similar as well, running and waiting for the openings. This defensive philosophy is just very annoying in general, and I believe has a higher likelihood of victory as you essentially wait for your opponents to take the risk of advancing, patiently seeking an opportunity to exploit that risk. But remember, people want to be stimulated. They want authenticity and risk to keep them on the edge of their seat, because momentarily the drama, the tension, it keeps them distracted from the silent voice eating them from inside, so... Sorry, I think that was a little too much truth, my bad. No hate to any fighter regardless of their style. I respect all fighters. Do what you gotta do. At the end of the day, you are partaking in one of the harshest environments on the planet, and for that alone, even if the world neglects you or even hates you, for what it's worth, know at least you have my respect, because I know not many people can do that. You know, it truly is a life and death situation at times. Let's end it on that. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. It's good karma. And until next time, peace.